Hey guys, it's Matt Hill from Matt Hill's Performance Fitness here again. And today we're just going to talk about the overhead, a little bit about the overhead squat, and a little bit about the fundamentals and some of the details that a lot of people miss on the overhead squat. So first, we're going to start out by just kind of simply putting the bar over our chest, and we're going to get into a nice strict press position. We're going to try and get as neutral as we can with the spine and with the wrists before we even get the bar overhead. The best thing to do is to try and get ourselves in the most optimal starting position, or the most neutral starting position that we can. Our best starting position leads to our best finish position. So we always want to try and get to the best start that we possibly can. And we do that by finding neutral. We squeeze our butt, we pull our rib cage down, we break the bar. We're going to start in a strict position. That means wrist straight. Okay. I'm going to actually open my feet up just a little bit wider so I can kind of fit in the middle a little bit. I still have a little bit of restriction in the hip, and so I'm going to give myself a little freedom by opening my feet a little bit wider. Little almost wider than hip, but not quite. Just almost, or just a little bit wider than shoulder actually. Okay, so then I'm going to press the bar overhead. Okay, I'm squeezing the ribcage down. I've got the bar broken still. I'm still trying to snap and break the bar, and I've got the wrist over top. I'm squeezing the butt, and I'm breaking the floor with my feet. I'm kind of pushing the floor apart with my feet still, so that I can get optimal external rotation with the knees. And then I'm going to imitate the squat. I'm going to just press the knees out, start lowering myself down to the floor, and I'm going to wind up at the bottom. While I'm doing that, and this is maybe one of the most important parts, is that we want to try and keep our wrists over top of the body. Okay. Now, I'm ending up having to give up the torso quite a bit because of my mobility issue or limitations still, but in order for me to kind of keep progressing and kind of pulling myself together and pulling out the unevenness and my kinesio in my system, I have to keep the chain closed. I have to keep the circuit closed. And in order to do that, I've got to keep the wrist closed. And that helps me prioritize and keep my shoulder in the most optimal position, which is set close to into the socket. So in order for me to kind of progress and keep progressing, I have to really focus on keeping a good shoulder position. And if I don't do that, then I'm not going to be optimizing and being able to optimize my torso position as I kind of move forward in my training. And the main thing is really that we want to try and be optimizing the position of our torso and an upright torso as we're progressing through all of our movements and our movement skill transfers. So we have to be kind of as real and true as possible. Even if that's kind of giving up some weight and not being able to hold as much overhead as we lower ourselves into our squat, we have to kind of make some sacrifices there in order to kind of progress long term. So that's kind of the deal with that. But the main thing is that once we start in neutral and we have a good neutral position to start from here, is that we keep those wrists over top. Okay. The next main thing is bracing, is being able to take a big breath, hold it, and then transition through space without losing it. That breath that you take is what's giving your spine bracing. That breath, that is what's giving your spine something to kind of push off against, or give you some rigidity off of. So we have to like really work on bracing and all these other schemes, and this is really one of the main ones where it's like comes into play. Okay, this is why bracing is so important, because when you're holding something over your head and you transition into a squat, into flexion, things get real very quickly. And especially if we don't understand a good bracing scheme. So breathing is not bracing. Bracing is holding and keeping a good tight abdomen with the breath and being able to transition through space as we do that. So that's one of the other main parts, is being able to keep a good strong bracing midline by holding breath or controlling breath, and then keeping your wrist closed as you transition through space. Okay, these are some of the main things that I see that people kind of miss in order to just get a lot of repetitions and get a lot of weight overhead, but ultimately leads to other sacrifices and performance losses over the long term. And this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So it's like we have to be practicing and thinking about long-term goals and long-term performance progression, okay? Because that's what it's all about, is performing better for the long term. And so we have to kind of think about that. We've got to think about little details like that, come to find out, in order to keep kind of achieving those goals. So that's kind of it for the overhead squat. We'll go into a little more detail, maybe show you a little bit more close-ups on knees and feet and all that stuff. But you guys should know by now, we've kind of been through some of this stuff before, kind of how to line all that stuff up. If you don't, you can go back into other videos and we show some of that footage and some other videos. But like and subscribe and keep hanging out with us, and we'll have more videos here in the future. Appreciate you guys.